Stand by. 1,200 metres the journey. Gates fly open, racing and missing it slightly. Roped them in, dropped out with Rockanori Angel undercover. Norwich, though, flew the gates and is going to cruise to the lead from Kripolenko. Man Crush in the early part. Being ridden forward now here with plenty of gusto. Storyville, Piker sent her up now, racing over the speed. On the inside, next of all, London's Image as they get going at the 750, followed by Twain's Angel. And then rope them in Bustler, well back in the field. Super Smink, Rockanori and Aztec Ruler. And last of all, Angel undercover. 550 left to go, and the fleet-footed Norwich will bring them for home. It's Norwich 2 lengths, Kripolenko. Man Crush third, a length and a half to London's Image, tracking up near the rail. It's down on the inside of the stablemate Storyville, followed by Twain's Angel. Rope them in. Super Smink patiently handled a long way back in the field. Norwich, though, giving them something to catch. 200 to go, Norwich by 2. London's Image starts to put in her run. She's coming out after Norwich. Norwich in front, London's Image. Storyville roped them in. London's Image hits the front, roped them in, dives, picks them up, roped them in. Roped them in, gathered them up, and has won from London's Image. Super Smink, a real black booker down the outside, charging home. Think she might have run third. Norwich there in the run on, pulling up as well. Near the inside, Rockanori, followed further back, Bustler, Twain's Angel, Man Crush, Angel undercover, Kripolenko. Storyville back there, pulling up quickly, and back with her as well as Aztec Ruler. Number 2, rope them in. Trained by Steve Wolfe, ridden by Shooter McGruddy. The combination that won this very race 2 years ago with Red Can Man have repeated the performance this afternoon with Rope Them In returning and scoring in the Crawford, beating London's Image. Loomed as the winner. Big run, Super Smink. She got a mile out of her ground and she has come with an almighty finishing run. But the race goes the way of Rope Them In for Shooter McGruddy, the Playing God gelding, the Bluff Knoll winner, quality horse, and he takes the listed Crawford Stakes first up. Second placing going the way of 11, London's Image, Lucy Fiore, and Super Smink, Chris Parnham in third spot. Just given a bit too much to do, too much ground to make, but boy, didn't she come. And she came with an almighty rush. Rockanori ran fourth in front of Norwich, who gave back as a great sight. They've run 1:10 and change. 1:10.01. A short neck, a long neck, the margins. The winner's race by Steve Wolfe, Reggie Webb, Jose Monterrubio, T. Fasimar Tan, Leith Putland, also Ann Jones, Brad Willison, Gary Dickey and Noel Carter. PN Carter, the Circle of Trust Syndicate, managed by Peter Kerr. And Sean McGruddy guiding the gelding home to his 9th win in 21 starts. He picked his way through them brilliantly. 34.50, the last 600 there. London's Image reaching the lead in the shadows, but only to be pounced upon by Rope Them In. The runner-up is a Headwater mare from New Image, trained by Grant and Alana Williams. Her first run for the yard, Lucy Fiore, and third, the big run of Super Smink by Super One from Sminky Shorts, Chris Parnham and Danny Morton. We'll go to the yard now. Before we have a look at the next event, the Liquor Barons Eurythmic Stakes, and here downstairs, Steve Wolfe is with Lockie Taylor.
Thanks, Darren. What a training performance from Steve Wolfe. He's still got it. Rope them in. First up, gets the job done. Wolfie, congratulations on the win. What were your confidence levels like coming into today, knowing that he still has bigger fish to fry later this year?
Barring for the fact that we couldn't gallop him on Tuesday in Albany, I was pretty confident. But when the gates opened, I won't tell you what I said, but it wasn't complimentary to Jockey or horse. And I thought, we're buggered. But he is a good horse, truthfully. I never had him right last prep, as you know. He won the Bluff Knoll on class. And we just ticked him along. He's still probably only about 80%. So whether we go for the Winterbottom or the Bluff or the Railway, we'll worry about that. At least we've got a little fish today.
So where to next for him, and when does that eventual decision get made? Winterbottom or Railway?
Oh, that won't be a hurry, mate. Yeah, we'll be in them both till we need to be. Sean always said, you got to make your mind up, but I know the horse will make his mind up where he wants to be. He's a really good horse, and just lovely to get him back. And a good ride. I mean, they can all ride them good, and you can train them good when they're real horses.
You speak of the fact that you didn't have him quite right last preparation. He won the Bluff Knoll on class. What went wrong last campaign, and have you had to change anything coming back this time in?
No, I think just the spring last year was a bit too much for him, you know. He put so much in that I don't think he recovered in the autumn, you know. And his class carried him through in the Bluff Knoll, and then I was really grasping at straws and trying to tell him and myself that he was right. But in my own heart, I knew he wasn't. He was 5 or 6 lengths below his best. But no, he's back now, and if we can look after him, he'll be right.
Can Brave Spirit win the last?
Well, we certainly hope so. It's been a bit of a lean run.
Well done here.
Thank you very much, Locke.
There's Steve Wolfe. What a training performance. Rope them in. First up, gets the job done in a cracking edition of the Crawford Stakes. Here's Shooter McGrady. What a ride. Catching up with Scotty.
Sean McGrady's just jumping off the scales, and we'll get a word after Rope Them In. 2, 11, 9 and 6. He's just going to pop his saddle down, and then we'll get a word from Shooter after the first up victory of Rope Them In, who's now had 6 first up runs for 4 victories. He's a very, very sharp galloper, this Shooter. That's Rope Them In at his best, and also you at your best.
Oh, I don't know about me at my best. Everything that could go wrong went wrong. He bombed the start, but I was saying to the connections that it might have been a blessing because we're always going to try and use our barrier today. Barrier 2, first up, he was nice and fresh, and that's probably why he was a bit antsy in the gates. But, yeah, so then after that, I thought, well, my chance to get out is around Pikey. He's sort of moving into it, and one of Casey's was sort of off the bridle, but then Pikey's didn't really corner that well, and Casey's moved up and had me buggered, and I thought, well, we probably can't win from here, but my only chance is to go back in to where I originally was, and like I say, I think because he bombed the start, it meant that he had to turn the foot there. If I had to use my gate, that may have taken away from his finish.
Now let's open up my favourite can of worms. Winterbottom or Railway Stakes?
Look, I think he's a sprinter, even though early on I said he'd get a mile. So I'm happy to say that I might be wrong, but I'll leave that up to Wolfie. The problem with the Winterbottom is weight for age. He's not a big horse. His better wins have been in handicaps. So look, maybe they might go east in the autumn for some handicap sprint races, but I like the fact that he might get in on 53 or 54 in the railway, so I'll leave it up to Wolfie.
Way to sit on the fence, well done.
Yeah, thank you.
There's Sean McGrady. What a ride. He takes out the Swan Draft RS Crawford Stakes aboard Rope Them In with his great mate Steve Wolfe alongside him.